The Downtown Blue Road Redevelopment Area Board meeting for September 2013. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abraham?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Harshaw?
Here.
Dr. Sharples? Ms. Washington?
Present.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Weedman?
Here.
Mr. Zapatelli?
Here.
Chairman Smith?
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Ask for approval of the minutes. I was not here, so I will ask if there are any changes, additions, subtractions, any. If not, can I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
I make a motion. Were there any corrections before I go?
I see.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 6, 2013, with the necessary corrections, if there be any.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, now, Scott, I want to thank you for filling in the last 2 months for me. Appreciate that. Hopefully we'll have no more of that. Keep everybody in good health. It'll be good. Okay, Jason, item number 4.
Item number 4, good afternoon. I'm Jason Jeffries with the Redevelopment Office. Item number 4 is a conditional use request for a new restaurant that is proposing to open up at 180 North Beach Street. This is the Del Mar Cafe. This is the location of the former Moon Arena Sports Cafe. If you recall, the Arena Sports Cafe had at least the 176 and 180 locations, both locations as a performance theater, and they had a 4COP license under our previous alcohol regulations, which were revised a few years ago. Under the new provisions, and those alcohol regulations, the use became grandfathered in under those regulations. The applicant is proposing a restaurant, which will be a change of use for the 180 North Beach location. And the new restaurant for alcohol beverage service will have to meet the criteria that's in your staff report on page 2. And also, they are requesting outdoor table service on the public sidewalk, which is also a conditional use, essentially what we call a sidewalk cafe. Once again, the location, this is the north block, the block between ISB and Bay Street, 180. This is the restaurant next to the old theater. There's a picture of the location as it was with the Arena Sports Cafe. Let me just quickly go over the criteria. This establishment shall contain a full-service kitchen that includes commercial refrigerator, freezer, an oven, or a stove. That's used for cooking and preparing food. The kitchen is required to open, and the food shall be available to patrons up to 1 hour before closing. The establishment shall have a restaurant seating arrangements covering at least 75% of the customer service area. The restaurants can have live entertainment, and the establishment shall not sell alcohol beverages after midnight or 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. And any live outdoor entertainment, as permitted in the city code, must cease by 10 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday and midnight, Friday and Saturday. The applicant has submitted a site plan outlining the layout of the proposed restaurant. Here on the PowerPoint, I'm kind of outlining what is the customers, under the definitions of the Land Development Code, what is customer service area in the purple. Essentially, back of house is under restaurant terms is a staff only area, as they're providing that on the site plan, so there should be no customers in that area. Kitchens, bathrooms, entry areas specifically by the code are not customer service area. So based on the area that is shaded, that should be the tables are covering more than 75%. By my calculations, about 77% of the area is being covered by tables. And just so this is the customer service definition out of the Land Development Code, which is rooms or areas of commercial building or property where patrons of the business enjoy its services. And then it says exclusive of kitchens, storage areas, restrooms, halls, entry foyer, waitress stations, or other areas not designed for the use or the enjoyment of customers. And then again, the question about back of house, I took that as meaning, again, looking up on we don't define it in our code, but a term I found on doing a Google search, back of house is restaurant. So that's how I took that. It's not a customer service area, but it's a staff area. And the Sidewalk Cafe is that the applicant is proposing is based on, it's basically the same one that the Arena Cafe, Sports Cafe had, which is about 4 feet from the wall. The 6 foot walking area would be provided. Basically, they have enough room to put tables along the wall in this location because it's about a 10-foot wide sidewalk. If there's any questions.
I have some questions for the applicant. Come forward. If you give your name and address for us.
My name is Oliver Ross. Address is 6 Pheasant Lane, Ormond Beach, Florida.
Welcome. Nice to see you.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about the menu now. My understanding is you currently have a restaurant on ISB.
Yes, it's called the Crab Stop 2. I actually own 4 other restaurants, two down
You're
south.
glutton for punishment, are you?
Yeah, whatever works. One in Miami and one in Pompano, Florida.
Okay.
And here in Daytona.
So is this the menu you have? Is that the same menu you have at
Yes, we actually going to add more to that menu. I just gave that for a proposed menu. And we actually add more to that.
All right, and we heard from Jason what his definition of back of house is. What's your definition of back of house?
It's pretty much the same as his.
Because that's an awful, I was in the restaurant business for a long time, so that's
Yeah.
an awful big area to not
Yes.
receive any income from, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, we actually going to use that as more of a storage area because it's like really it's not usable for anything else.
And all of our concern in the past with this particular property, and one of the reasons the restrictions Jason read was because we've had people come in parading as restaurants and it turned out
Yes.
to be nightclubs. And
Right.
one of our goals is to get people living down here, and so we had some quality of life issues related. Unfortunately, you're having to pay for some past deeds
understand.
done, right? So we have to. Our job is to make sure that you truly are a restaurant and
Yes.
that you understand before you go, and this can't turn into a nightclub.
Yes, sir.
Or else we're going to have to, come back and look at some of these restrictions. So that's.
I understand.
So I'm sure Jason's told you that, but
Yes.
that's kind of the role we play here. Now, my other question would be dance floor and stage. That's a pretty big area there. So,
Yes.
what's your plan with that?
Well, once we get rolling, we plan to have like comedy shows, so we can actually use the stage as seating. Also, bringing acts in to like perform live jazz bands on Sundays. We plan to have jazz bands for like Sunday brunch, like a wind down. Also, kind of got me off guard a little bit. Jazz bands. Goodness gracious.
So just live entertainment. So
Just live entertainment, things of that nature to bring in open mics, poetry nights, karaoke, things of that nature.
Okay.
Pretty much something like Ocean Deck, how they have the little live entertainment, things of that nature to come in there. Yes.
And what? So, what do you in food? What do you think you're going to be in terms of percentage?
Oh, once they taste our food, it's a wrap. But our food is really good for you all that haven't had it. You need to come try it out. Once they taste our food, that's going to be.
So seafood is.
It's definitely going to be probably like
50%,
no. It's definitely probably going to be
60%?
like more of 65%,
65.
maybe more. So.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I can honestly say the seafood is awesome. It is awesome, and
Thank
I'm
you.
happy to see
Thank you.
them making a move because I visited the other stops, the one on Martin Luther King as well as the one on International Speedway, and they're doing great.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Dan?
Yeah, just one question. I guess in the front, it's kind of an open air area. And are we going to be using strictly the backstage as your entertainment area? Because I guess my concern would be is bringing the stage to the sidewalk
No,
may not be the right place for it.
we're not doing anything on as far as the sidewalk. We just have people maybe eat there, but nothing.
Well, no, I'm not saying the sidewalk literally, but I'm talking about, that's the area you just open all the glass
Oh, the
walls,
windows,
and
yes.
It's an open air room.
Yes, yes. Well, we have we're going to put 2 pool tables there for people that want to come shoot pool or what have you.
Oh.
But we also have areas where people can sit, and actually right around the perimeter of the windows, we have seating where people can actually enjoy the breeze and enjoy the view, because it's a beautiful view at night. Of course, you all have seen the bridge, and it's beautiful at nighttime. So.
I mean, that was my concern. I think you're right. I think it's a great place, what you're thinking about. I
Yes.
just personally would not want to see the bands brought to the sidewalk.
Oh, no,
So
no.
the whole outside gets to hear your music versus the people inside the restaurant.
No.
That was
Yeah.
my concern.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anyone else? Jason, anything you need to add? You good?
Unless there's any other questions.
Just so we be clear, as far as the pool tables or the bars or the dance floors or the stages, that's all within what we have written, correct? I don't want to come back to this man another time and tell him something.
Well, no, and we just have to be careful with the pool tables, because those are not considered the customer service tables. So that would have to be the dance floor, the stage, and the pool tables can't exceed the 25%.
So you got that right? You understand? Yes. I just hate for you to get in there and somebody come in and say, that's all. Beginning. Okay, with that said, can I get a motion for approval?
Move approval of the conditional use, subject to any outstanding technical review comments.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jason. Did my sunglasses turn yet? Feels like you're gonna.
Now looking at our new.
But the picture is much clearer.
Yes.
Much clearer.
All right, Jason.
Basically, what's left is just staff updates. In the packet, we did get a report from code enforcement. I don't know if you have any questions about code enforcement. I don't believe the one issue I don't believe was in here. I don't know if they put it in here. But I was dealing last week with code enforcement on 204 South Beach Street with the old Michaels location. There was concerns about the store that was moving in there.
Skateboard?
Looks like a skate sport shop, but at one
Well,
point,
it is a skateboard shop.
my
It's got
talking to
skateboards in it. How about that?
yeah, there's skateboards in there, and I have talked to the gentleman who's opening it. I think there's also going to be a gift shop aspect to it. He's be a little unclear, but both of those are conforming uses. There were some concerns last week by some of the neighboring businesses. I guess at one point there was a sign up that said tattoos, so which is a whole other issue for that's not
really?
a retail
Wow.
business that's allowed in RDD1. So, but I think that has been resolved, and it's going to be like a skate shop and gifts. And I think the business license has been signed off as a retail shop. So, if there's any other code questions?
Yes. The one thing that I've noticed in the middle block, it seems to be that for some reason, I guess the merchants or whoever there believe the fire lanes now are considered parking areas. And I wonder if code could look into that, because every morning when I come in, there's the computer repair shop, and there are some other people in the Crest building, and they literally line the whole back of those buildings, and that's their parking spaces. This morning there was 3 vans there from the computer place, and they're just backed up to the doors, and that's where they stay all day. So, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, those are fire lanes and not parking areas. So if we could look into that.
I'll talk to Captain. I don't know if that's a code enforcement issue. That might be a police. I'll talk to Captain Newcomb about that. Or it might even, if it's not police, it might even just be the fire inspector going out, because it's like you said, they're in the fire lane. But yeah, I've noticed that too. I've seen that.
Anyone else? Code? Okay.
If there's no other code questions, I'll just give you a brief update on projects. The parking lots, that's all been funded. It was approved August 21st. I think what we're waiting on now is just they've had their pre-construction meeting with the contractors. Basically, we're in the process of mobilizing the project with the public works. So once that is, I have the exact date of when they're out there starting to do some of the work. I'll forward that to the merchants, or I'll send out an email blast. The electrical project, I think next Monday, we are going to have a test or a sample of one of the light fixtures to see how it works in terms of lighting. So I don't know. We'll take some pictures and we'll present it back there. I don't know if we can have an on-site review of the board, because that might get into other sunshine issues, right?
What is this, a new like LED lights or something are putting in? Or
Yeah,
something different?
Yeah, I think they're going to be testing an LED light. It's a different style light fixture. I think last time the meeting I had mentioned they're going to be we're looking at they've done their analysis, and they believe a capital style light fixture. This is very similar to what's on ISB in front of Bethune-Cookman. If you look at that streetscape that they did in front of there, those light fixtures are what's called a capital style. It's a little longer light fixture. It throws more light. And also the proposal is right now the light, there's double heads on the lights on the retail side, and they're perpendicular to the buildings. They're actually going to rotate them to be parallel with the buildings, and I'll make sure more of the light that they're throwing is on the sidewalks instead of it kind of casting over into the street, because there's other lights in the median, those high shoebox lights are really lighting the street. So we're going to have kind of a on-site test of this new light fixture is what I'm understanding next Monday. So that project's moving along. They're doing the electrical upgrades right now to City Island for the farmers market. That was one of the requests of the DDA. Trying to think if there's any of the other projects that I need. Any of the other projects you want updates on?
Public Works with the
Well, those are all.
the alleyway.
The alleyway is on hold right now.
No,
I'm not sure, Jason, if they got the same copy of information or the answers that I got from our city manager in regards to additional parking in the back of Zappy's or in Block 1. It's been denied. They're not going to look for additional parking. The speed of Beach Street being reduced to 20 mile an hour has been denied. They won't reduce the speed. I'm not. Did you guys catch any of that? So we need to share that information with these people, because we all kind of accepted, we would like to see Beach Street reduced in speed, but they haven't been told that it's been denied and it won't happen. Pedestrian crosswalk, a couple signs went up.
Yes, I think what they're doing instead, I haven't had a conversation directly, but I think to resolve the pedestrian crossing issue that was raised, instead of lowering the speed limit, what they're instead doing is putting in these large yellow warning signs, the standard yellow warning signs in front of the arches, marking those as a pedestrian crossing.
But you have a liability problem there, Jason. The archway is 15 feet from those signs. So next to my building, there's an arrow saying pedestrian walkway, and then 15 to 20 feet later is the archway. So you've got a situation there. It looks like they just tried to put the sign up without using the pole, just
I'll have to look, because where I saw them placed there, like right adjacent to the archway.
Some are perfect, but I
Okay,
noticed that one there. Particularly, I'm not sure if the rest of them could be. I did notice some were right, but this one here kind of gives it
Yeah. I'm not particularly thrilled about that large sign in our shopping district. I've never seen that before,
Not really,
but.
no. It doesn't light up. There's nothing at night that's really going to help pedestrians know, or there's no caution light. maybe some LEDs on the ground, yellow LEDs on the floor like they do at Sanford Airport, you know, before the bumps, you know. With the, I think the only thing you can do there, it's real difficult with the archways the way you got them to hang anything, you know. See, there's a problem. But not having parking is detrimental to my livelihood on Beach Street. And our existence overall, period. Will cease to exist.
Was it parking behind the building that you requested?
We were trying to procure a building behind us that would allow for about 100 additional spots for everybody to use. Jessup's and you know, Don Vito's and all that. Could have been a beautiful square back there. But as I said, we've been completely denied, contrary to the redevelopment website, which clearly states that there will be parking there. We've been denied use of funds for purchase of that building. And as I said, that will cease to exist. Our existence here in Daytona.
And also, too, is we actually had a lease with them for probably, I want to say 8 years, and we no longer have a lease with them to park on that other side, because we used to have all our employees park on the grass side, and no longer, as you see now, there's a chain up there, and it says you will be towed away and all that. Now, I don't see the reason for that. So, but yeah, we've lost 11 more parking spaces because of the new management company that's overseeing the property doesn't want anybody to park there. So that's 11
I think this
spaces.
is something that needs to come up at City Commission, Commissioners meeting, to forward our requirements to survive there. It's something that we can bring up before the board.
Agreed.
I think as individuals, you can make that case before the commission, and certainly the board has the prerogative to also take action and send it along.
I realize
Recommendation.
the board took action to bring it to the city manager, but it never really got to anywhere else. You know?
When's the next redevelopment board meeting? I mean, the CRA meeting.
Next CRA meeting potentially will be October the 2nd.
Potentially, depending if they have anything on the
If there appears there'll be some business to come before us at that time, so I'm anticipating.
It's not the city that's denying the parking, it's the property management of whoever owns the building, right?
Of that building, yeah. But in terms of moving forward on, are you saying on that, because I've been out of the loop for a couple months, in terms of the adding the parking meters and having a turnaround, that you're saying that's on hold?
No, let me clarify. Parking meters, what I'm working on is resurveying all the adjacent property owners in that, we've had some changeover, well, not really property owners, but the businesses on Orange Avenue to Magnolia. And once I have that survey complete, I'll share it with the board. It's to keep that portion of it, the parking meters, moving forward. There was a concept to open up Federal Alley, which we were starting to look at, and that has been put on hold at the request of Public Works. And they were citing potential pedestrian conflicts with the opening up of that alley. But those are two separate issues there.
Okay.
And then I think what Mr. Zappatelli is talking about was a request that he had made, and I think it did get in, it was part of the board priorities, which he had separately put a list of concerns to mayor and the city commission, which there has been some written response to, and one of those was additional the CRA going forward with buying what is 119 Palmetto. It's the building directly behind. It's called the Daytona Executive Offices. I think Dan or Mr. Harshaw with the Jessups was leasing some of their parking lot for additional parking for his business. What this would done to purchase the building, and the idea was to demolish the building, take what parking they have plus the demolition of that building, and we could probably have added a parking lot that would have close to 140 additional parking spaces for that particular block. And the response was that there is plenty of parking in downtown at this time.
Well, I would agree. I think it's more a perceived problem than a real problem, but it's a perceived problem. It's a problem nonetheless.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've addressed this.
Well, and there's, I think we have to keep in mind, this particular block has the least amount of off-street parking because the block between Orange and Magnolia has the large parking lot behind.
And we've only got one side
Right.
of parking on Beach Street. The other side is no parking from the alley, from
Right. I mean, there's always been a limitation on the east side of amount of, that goes back to the whole streetscape project was going to resolve that issue, to have additional parking on Beach Street.
Is that building for sale, or is?
Yes,
it
it's
is?
bank-owned. It's going through a short sale process right now. So could have been an opportunity.
So someone is proposing to purchase it, other than the city?
I haven't heard if there's been any transaction.
Do you know how much it was or how much it is?
I think they had it listed for $800,000, but they'll go less.
it's twice the value of the building.
All you want is for the dirt. It's not worth, the dirt's not $800,000.
No, that's a short sale.
Right.
A quick purchase will change their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them 2.
4 will do the deal.
200,000 cash, they'll take it.
I'm sorry.
Do we know why the 20-mile an hour was denied?
I don't know anything about it.
The traffic engineering did a speed survey and said the average speed on Beach Street is 28 miles per hour. Therefore, the speed limit should be 30.
Well, average. I mean, some people are doing 50 and some people are doing 20. And that's what's happening.
That's a good request.
It's easy to do.
Jason, I have another
Yeah,
question
but-
for you, if you don't mind. Well, you talked about the funding of the parking lots through the streetscaping part of them with the city commission. It went to city commission. I guess they're proposing the funding. I still would like to leave the door open for what we talked about because the plat map you showed me, they're removing the handicap spaces in back there. I still think the handicap spaces should be.
Well,
But you're talking. But here's the thing about it: you're talking about putting now handicap behind your building. So now we have 2 more left spaces behind your space
right.
for his customers and whatever. The handicap spaces should, no matter what, should be along ISB, right next to where the landscaping is going to be, because no one who's handicapped should have to walk across ISB to get to a handicap spot, and it shouldn't be in the middle of the block behind his hotel/restaurant.
Yeah.
So I think that door still be open.
No, we're going to correct with the final striping of the parking lot. We'll put the handicap or at least one of them. We'll probably end up is have one at ISB and then one next to the handicap parking spot, next to the handicap ramp at Zappy's.
Okay. And then secondly and I don't know, I probably should have emailed you these pictures, but I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but it seems to be that, I don't know if it's the restaurants or the businesses or the printing companies or whatever, they need to line up deliveries, because the other day I came in and I took 3 pictures. We actually had 2 full semi-trucks parked there for probably 35 or 40 minutes, and nobody can get through there. And now you're talking about narrowing the road up even 10 or 12 feet on each side. So there's no way we can have semi-trucks coming there delivering after 10 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody getting it out. I mean, I know the print shop paper company comes and he parks there for 30 minutes.
I've never not been able to get through there. I mean, I go that
Well,
way all the time. I mean, I've seen where it's been narrow, but I've never seen it where you.
But now you're talking about narrowing it almost 20 feet. You can't put semi-trucks in there. You're only going to give them 20 feet to back in off from both spaces. So I don't know if the business needs to regulate big deliveries. I mean, I know that some small companies come in.
Yeah.
But you can't have semi-trucks coming in and stopping traffic at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. Duly noted. What else we got going on?
The only thing coming up here on the 18th, the DDA will, of course, be finalizing their budget for approval for next fiscal year. I have received a proposed series of events from the group that been working with downtown, Bullseye Marketing, and the DDA will be considering that proposal at that meeting. So I think it's a good proposal that will provide some additional events for downtown. And what the DDA's part of this project is to assist with the market. What the DDA's been discussing is funding and really doing the marketing of those events. And then there will be a separate request to the CRA to pay for the permit fees regarding those events. And this is all, and it'll be, and I think there's an interest to make sure that it coordinates with the whole Riverfront Shops marketing campaign. The events, they're all tied in together.
I've been down here a long time. My first, Bob Gibbs, who's the gentleman that's done the study, correct, what's the name of the study?
Our retail marketing study?
Retail marketing study, and obviously well-respected nationally, not just here locally. And my first meeting with Bob Gibbs preceded all of this, was back, Reed, before you got here. It was back in, before they did the visioning process, and they did an economic study of the whole city, not just downtown. And it was my first meeting with him. And at the same time we had that I met with him, was actually when the Speedway, and I'd been on that chamber trip where they went out to Louisville and saw Louisville Live, which was a entertainment retail district. And so the Speedway, that was when they initially started talking about using the property adjacent to across the street from them to create more retail. And so at that time it was nowhere near as big as what we're talking about now. Now we're talking about over 1 million square feet in retail and multi-use. And so at that time Bob Gibbs said to me, and I'll never forget it, was that project could be very detrimental to downtown. It could cause, if downtown tries to compete with that, it's going to be a futile attempt, and it's going to be very difficult. And so what concerns me, as what I see we've done in the last year or so, is trying to position ourselves more as a retail destination and going out after retail, big national chains or whatever. And I just think that we need to really rethink that. Based on that, we need to maybe get with Bob Gibbs and find out. And because what the Speedway's doing is that's not a maybe. At the time, it was maybe they're kind of going to do it. They're doing it. They're turning dirt real soon. So I think we've got to position ourselves, in my opinion, as more of a dining entertainment district than try to fight with it becoming a retail destination. Right now we don't have 1 square foot women's clothing in the downtown, which would be the number one thing you would want in the retail world. We don't have that. I don't see us getting that. So I just throw out there to the board members, and something we ought to all maybe have a come to Jesus meeting about as to what we're really going to be, which direction we really should go. Concerns that right now we're going to be competing in a marketplace that's going to be very difficult. All that square footage of retail that Bob Gibbs has identified as out there, that he has demographics to back up, I betting big money they're going to go to the Speedway before they're going to come down here. But certainly it can be a place where people like Paul and myself and others who want to open up a business can afford to do it. So I think it speaks even more to why we need the Riverfront Master Plan, and why we need a destination, not a thoroughfare, and why people need to want to feel like a place they can hang out and be. And right now what we are is a mix mash. I mean, I look at the banners that are up on I see a pretty lady with the package, and I don't know I can only think of 2 places she could have got that pretty package down here. Jesso's being one of them, of course. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you've been here as long as I have. You know what I'm talking about. I'm just
His report says we have 1 million square feet available for shopping. And if they do 1 million square feet of shopping out at the Speedway, he sucked up every bit of geographic area of retail we're supposed to be accommodating.
Not that we can't do things like yours and Cheryl Cook's. We've got some, not knocking the people we have, but to think a new one's going to come in, our national chain's going to come in, I just think is wishful thinking.
You made a good point, and I think what Jason's going to be doing is having that conversation with Mr. Gibbs about some of these changes. What does it mean? So I think before any of us jump to any conclusions, we do what you just suggested, and that is to re-engage him about some of these more recent changes. Because at the end of the day, there's only so many people who will fit into the plan for what happens out west. And while we think that's just going to absorb people, it's like building lots of hotels on the beach. They're going to come from further away. We're going to become a destination that is here as a place to visit, to shop, to go to the beach, and do all of these other things. And it depends on more people coming here than live here. So it's those are the dynamics we need to understand from the people who do the number crunching. Is how does that work in today's market, today's trends? Is that maybe that's a good thing? Maybe Midtown and downtown and the beachside will actually benefit from having a lot more of the retail world looking at us and looking at maybe not coming to what looks like something they really want to go to, but hey, there's something else here and there's some reason why we can't be in another destination that's near that area because there's going to be so many people in this community. It's a question I have. I don't know the answer.
And I just bring it up because I feel like, and I totally agree with everything you said, Reed, and I think that's what we need to have a process to go through. But I think we have to be prepared to make some changes to our plan and be realistic as to what we can do versus that. And that's, and I think to me, it speaks even more to the Riverfront Master Plan and why we need to become a destination and not a thoroughfare, as Paul said. We can't even get the speed limit. We can't even get somebody at traffic to understand this isn't about how fast somebody is, how slow we want them to go. Parking might not be an issue for Paul if people felt comfortable walking across the street. It's just, anyway. About that. With that said, I just feel like we need to. Only Bob exceeds me in time down here, so I've just seen it come and go, and I'm like, man, this is. When I read that, I just my thoughts immediately went back to the first time I met Bob Gibbs and how pronounced that statement was when he said it. So, and just to finish my thoughts, I would ask that I think it's probably time if it's. Next time they do have a CRA meeting, that we could at least do a presentation and share with the whole commission and the mayor, in a constructive environment, not a city commission meeting, a CRA meeting to where we can.
Priorities?
Priorities meeting. We've done that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been at least 2 years since we've done that, right?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Let me make that suggestion, see if we can put that on the agenda if we're going to have that meeting on the 2nd. Usually we've done these on the quarterly meetings, but let's see what we can do to have that happen.
That's the whole reason they were asking for the board priorities, which was
Right.
approved at the last meeting.
Right. There is because of the budget, we're going to have a special CRA meeting on the 18th. That's already set. The agenda's set for that. So I know I told you about the October meeting. There's going to be a special meeting for the CRA on the 18th to handle the budget and a grant for Blue Road.
Yes.
I don't know if we've mentioned that one.
No, I'm sorry.
You might want to explain that one.
Is that October 18th?
No, September
September 18th?
Yes.
Coming up.
Oh.
There's a CRA meeting. It's basically to approve September 18th to approve
Next week?
to approve the CRA's budget as part of the city's budget process. Not unlike the DDA has to be there for that meeting for their budget. And then we did get approval to, we've received a $12,500 planning grant from the Department of Equal Opportunity, or Economic Opportunity. The Economic Opportunity from the state for a joint project with Holly Hill, because their CRA is adjacent to the city's, it's Daytona Beach's, our Blue Road CRA, to do a marina, to do planning for a marina district. And so I think as that project moves along and the planning process is complete, you'll see that report coming
Are
back
you
to
talking
you.
about the property next to Marina Grand? Is that what you're talking about?
You mean for, on our side?
Yeah.
Our planning study would go all the way down. It goes down to Anita, which includes the root canal. So it's really everything, all the property. It includes like Caribbean Jacks and Sunset Harbor, and the 957 Beach project, and then all the land
Is that north of Sunset under the bridge? Are you talking about?
Yes, going south.
We'll go all the way to the city limits, all the way to north, which takes you right up to the Marina Grand.
Yeah, and then Holly Hill picks up and does some planning on their
It used
side.
to be
You're-
Park Seafood and all in there, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
At 12,500.
12,500
12,500 what?
grant from the state.
Okay.
And then it would be a 12,500. Essentially, we have a personal professional service contract with a planning firm that's going to do the work. Basically, they're going to analyze. A lot of the work. The land use has already been changed. That's already designated, and you already have a vision that's outlined in the Nottingham plan about that district. So they're going to be relooking at some of the concepts presented there and just propose some proposed design standards for the area in terms of implementing those aspects of the plan, or if any changes to our redevelopment plan need to be made to strengthen the implementation of it, those recommendations will be made.
Who has that property? That property's north of under the bridge.
You mean what used to be what was the 957 condo project? My understanding, the last time I checked, it's still under ownership of. I don't know if it's Swerdlow, but it's the group out of New York.
Oh.
That was the Terramark. Well, that's the corporate name, but yeah, it's still in the Terramark name. What I have not seen any changes of is if somebody has bought the Terramark Corporation, or has there been a change there. But the land records still show up as Terramark owning it.
But you haven't heard from him, Ernie?
No.
Which the consultant for the 12,500?
I don't think you picked a consultant yet, right?
Yeah, it's Planning Solutions Corporation.
Who is that?
Planning Solutions. Beth Lemke.
Okay. Any other questions on that part? How about the car lots?
We just received the final EPA report.
I have not read it. It is, not only got several hundred pages.
Is that like Obamacare?
And we need to have dialogue with the engineers who can decipher some things for us, and really what we want to do is get back to something very simple. Draw me a line. Where do we have a problem? Where can we finish the landscaping around the perimeter and get that fence and some of the other stuff taken care of? It's starting to become a jungle in there.
Yes, it is.
So, what can we do to change that? So that needs our attention this month.
I'm curious, aren't they concerned about any liability issues if they do take the fence down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wandering all over that property.
Yeah, exactly. And so our concern is whether or not in some places we can have some landscaping put in, and even if we had to retain some fence in the perimeter in some areas, that we'll have to work that out with them. But under the current plan that you approved, there's supposed to be that
10 foot.
landscaping in the front.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a fence further in on the site and they relocate some things, I'm not sure we're too concerned. We just want to see it look better than it does currently.
And I'm curious, because when they first put the fence up, it was pretty effective. I walk by there, ride my bike and stuff. I mean, there's gaping holes in the fence that anybody can just wander right in now, too.
Right.
Do the police ever patrol that, or, I mean, have there been any issues in there? Or?
I've not heard of any. Well,
Sure, the police will be glad when that's squared away too.
Jason, the meeting on the 18th, or Reed, is that going to be in the commission chamber?
That's a city commission meeting.
Okay.
That's a 6 o'clock
Okay,
meeting.
prior to city commission meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
gotcha.
it's going to be after, because of the budget, like
Is that the final
DDA.
budget? Is that the final?
Because
Final
it's the
approval for
final
the city,
Right.
yes.
City budget, and then that's going to set a rate. That's going to change things, so the CRA will make its decision after or at the end of the meeting with the city commission
Okay.
meeting. So it's different. You'll just have to wait through the entire commission meeting before we get there.
But the only agenda item will be their budget, I
No,
take. No.
there'll be the grant as well that you just heard about.
Oh, the grant also.
There's a
Okay.
timing issue there.
Okay. Yeah, at some point, we do need to get before the CRA, because, just to underscore what Al said, the Daytona Speedway project will have an impact on downtown. As he mentioned, I've been here almost forever, because he's been here almost forever, and I've been here longer
One day longer.
than he has. But when I came here, Beach Street was the retail district. There was no Volusia Mall. We had 3 men's clothing stores, an upscale women's clothing store, and a variety of 2 department stores, Bert Scott's and Ivy's, and a variety of other stores. And then in the early 70s, early to mid 70s, the Volusia Mall opened. Department stores went there. The men's clothing stores started going out of business. Until only Doby's was left, and then they eventually went out of business because clothing trends changed. People stopped wearing coats and ties, and stores like Dillard's took over the clothing business. I don't see the Daytona project having the same impact on Beach Street as the Volusia Mall did, because they're not going to suck up the businesses that are on Beach Street like the mall did. And as Reed said, it could have a beneficial effect by bringing more people to the area who would then come to Beach Street and want to hang out. But I see the only thing really benefiting Beach Street and solidifying its position as a downtown area where people would want to go is the implementation of the Riverfront Master Plan. And if we can't get any of that done, such as narrowing the street and reducing the speed limit and, making it more suitable for people to want to go and spend some time, I don't think it's going to get much better. I mean, parking is one issue, but as Al says, it's more a perceived issue than a real issue, but perception becomes reality. And if the master plan is implemented, then parking may become an issue because we'll have more people down there. And then we'll have more parking besides, so that would complement it. But the master plan, I think, is critically important, and if we can't impress that on the commission or the CRA, and if the money can't be found to implement it, then I think we're going to face continuing issues, and the Daytona Speedway project will maybe not have much of a detrimental impact, or maybe not much of a beneficial impact. But, if the master plan is implemented, I think there will be a beneficial impact, because it will attract the extra people who come, and otherwise I'm not sure that's going to happen.
I think the key to it all is a riverfront master plan. And as Al was talking earlier, I thought about, and I won't say how long I've been in Daytona, I'll just say all my life. The things that I see that were drawing cards for Beach Street, which would at the same time, I think would revitalize, would not be the things that would be out as you said, at the Speedway, but you mentioned you all mentioned ladies' clothing, but there were also ladies' shoe stores that were no place else. The big box stores, I don't think, or the big department stores are not going to come here because, number one, we don't have the parking. They look for that. There's no need to have a big store and no place for the customers to park. So I look at the Riverfront Master Plan going into action and then bringing something that would fit in this area, draw people. That was one of the reasons when I saw what Mr. Ross was doing, I said, okay, he's got food that nobody else is dealing with. Then there'll be people we talked about going past 5 o'clock because they used to roll up the sidewalks at 5 o'clock on Beach Street. This is a little longer. It'll bring people into this area to mosey through. But then I thought about the speed limit. There's a lot, all of it goes hand in hand. And if we ignore it, what we're doing is saying goodbye to Beach Street.
Well, go ahead, Dan.
I guess I want to go back to what I always bring up every month, of course, is it's the destination. And if we don't have attractive entrances from all directions, we don't have a destination. So I don't know where we are on the ISB. I don't know where we are on the west side of ISB. I don't know where we are in any of this place because, I've been on this board now for 2.5 years and every one of the downtown meetings beyond. And I hate to say this, but to wait 5 years for a picture of what the streetscaping is supposed to look like
It's pathetic.
is, I don't know. I mean, so can you please give us an update on when these people are supposed to be coming to town, what they have to go through and what it's going to look like?
Right now, there are pretty pictures, I think, that are being put together for the city manager to at least begin to try to share some of that information with the decision makers. Because, this is, when we talk about all these projects, let's do the Riverfront Master Plan, let's get these gateways going, buy parking if we can, and we have these competing interests for the few funds that we have right now, because we're not building anything to make money like we did in the old days. And a CRA can't pay for things if it can't build something new, especially when we've had continuing declining tax base every single year. This year, downtown, when we looked at those rates, Jason, we're going to be up just a little bit, just a slight uptick, I think, in downtown.
The value?
The value,
Yes.
just slightly, but that's not happening in all the redevelopment areas yet, and it's so we're still feeling that effect, no matter how good things are around us. So we just have to focus on in making those priorities is to get what we want in terms of engineering plans to a point where we can go out and seek other people's money, i.e. grants. And we got to have those pictures to get the first dollar into a project. So, yes, it's very frustrating. And I agree with everything I've been hearing here about the Riverfront Master Plan, about the projects. And, I can't tell you that it's going that much faster, but it is. We've had some breakthroughs. The next, I think, downtown is probably on a different track than other sections where we may have. Midtown, I think we're making some progress there with a design and to try to finish up what we're doing between Nova over to Ridgewood. What we're trying to do from the beach side, from river to ocean. I think that may take a lot more resources, just given the nature of the narrow road that we have there. But there's probably a better solution down the road if we can get these hotels out of the ground to pay for some of these projects on the beach side. But downtown, unless we can get some grants, and we are applying for those, both for the sections downtown, midtown, and Main Street, and it's how things are still not where they need to be financially in the federal government level, in the state government level. So we'll go out there and ask, but we got to make sure we know what our priorities are and what we're pushing for. And quite frankly, the push right now is in that gateway infrastructure. It's not identifying, hey, let's take a major part of Riverfront Park and let's make that destination. But there are other funds at the federal government level that are starting to get to a point where hopefully they'll be healthy next year when it comes to parks, park development, stormwater development, which was a big section of what we were talking about with the Riverfront Park. If you're going to rebuild Riverfront Park, part of it required a lot of infrastructure that's underneath, and there quite frankly has not been any money to do any of that out there in the federal and state levels. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that we're going to see some of these programs come back that we can tap into.
Reed, I guess I just have one other thing is, I am sure that if I ate there last weekend, that I'm sure the property along between US 1 and the river on Granada Boulevard has probably doubled in the last 3 years because they have done streetscaping there. And I guess my concern is, there's your tax base. And if you don't have the streetscaping, the property values will never go up. You know, we just had a piece of property that we owned, or we own right now, just appraised again, and it's down $125,000 because of where it's at. And I'm sitting there going, it doesn't make sense to me that, you know, so I sit there and kind of go, it's because of the way we look. And I just don't see, there's got to be something somewhere that we can tap into that we're putting the money in the wrong part of town to bring this up. Because I think from 95 to the ocean, and this corridor should be the most important thing that Daytona Beach works on ever. Because that's the thoroughfare. I mean, look at Port Orange's thoroughfare. Look at Granada's thoroughfare. Everybody wants to drive down that way because it's pretty. Nobody wants to drive down ours. Nobody wants to go across our river to the beach. It's just...
Well, I don't know, the traffic count's pretty big, Dan. I wouldn't say nobody.
Because unfortunately they have to, but it wouldn't be a choice of mine to go and visit anywhere in Daytona Beach along this thoroughfare. It's just because that's our only option, unless we're going to drive to Port Orange every day and do it. And I think that these other communities really have targeted the right locations in the right areas. And I think we're missing the boat.
Okay. Well, two things. One, speaking of another project I haven't even mentioned that is lined up before ISB, is Orange Avenue. And Orange Avenue, there will be a meeting coming up here tomorrow. 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
I think it's in 149B, all right,
Downstairs.
downstairs. And I emailed the board. You got the flyer.
Yes.
Okay. So that is an example where we did get some money, and we're still piecing that together. I don't think it's done. I'm, like all of you, interested in hearing the latest. And I know that when it comes to the ISB corridor, we're at a point where we are out looking for the dollars, and again, we were so close. I wish I just could grab them so I could share them with you, but we're not at that point where we can do it. I hope by next month or the next month we'll have something to share with you.
And it makes me very, very nervous that we, you know, and I think it's a great thing we're finally getting it done Orange Avenue, you know, because our cars are falling through the holes. But my concern is you're talking about doing how long is it going to take? 8 months, a year to finish Orange Avenue? 2 years, and then and then the bridge starts August of 2014. That means the whole south side of Beach Street is going to be closed for 4 years. No one's going to take Orange
that's
Avenue.
a strong statement.
Well, let's think
there's
about it.
detours, there's ways around
Anybody that's
it.
going to take Orange Avenue Bridge to go home, now we'll take ISB to go home. So that means no one's going to be coming down Orange Avenue anywhere in that vicinity.
There's going to be a program that can be shared with everyone about how this is going to be done in stages, speaking of Orange Avenue. And the same issue is going to come up on ISB in the different sections. So there, when the puzzle finally gets put together and all the timing and the money and all of that is put together, we should be starting to see a picture that doesn't look like a mess. It looks like somebody's really thought this out and knows what comes first and where we take our detours and how we get around and how we sign it, so we are as customer-friendly as possible, so we don't bypass our businesses and the people who need that commerce every day, and to lessen the confusion of how people get from point A to B and on their way to the beach or wherever they might be going. I mean, that's what I expect at the end of the day and what we have. We should have a clear picture, but right now, we're not there.
Anyone else? I just say, I think we've beat this around good enough, but I think what I'm hearing from this board, Jason and Reed, is that I think, well, there's a will, there's a way, and I think the will of this board is that we find a way to implement this master plan, even if it's little things, and that we would like the opportunity to express that to the CRA board as soon as possible and see if we can't maybe rally the troops. I think there was 3 people that got up 2.5 years ago, however many years ago it was, and I was sitting in your office when they did it, and they said, bad things about the plan, and it was easily sidetracked, and I think we need to probably make sure they're clear and understand that that's not what we want. No, none of them are here. It's like maybe one of them, but anyway. With that said, and there's any other board comments, I'm going to ask for any public comment.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Committee. My name is Jason Douglas. I am a resident of 640 Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. I am a junior at Bethune-Cookman University, majoring in political science, and I'm the Student Government Association president this year. I come before you all in regards to our homecoming week, which will take place October 18th through the 26th. Homecoming at Bethune-Cookman is a week-long worth of community welcoming events and festivities. And again, I'm coming before you all in regards to homecoming and requesting funds to assist us financially in our marketing initiative. With our marketing initiative, we wish to utilize the street poles that are there. The street poles, there's 53 in the area of Ridgewood to the railroad tracks, which is the downtown area, and then that also incorporates the railroad to Lincoln Street, which is the midtown area. So like I said, there's 53 in that district there. I come before you to ask, to kind of let you know a little about some of the background of Bethune-Cookman. In 2002, we commissioned an economic impact study, and just some of the patronage that we do as a university to our city are some of the highlights of our local impact display that visitors, when they come, not only for homecoming, but when we have other events on campus, they spend approximately $14.9 million. Also, our students spend $46.2 million, and that's annually. And to me, being a 20-year-old student, I think that's a lot of money, knowing that not all of our college students are financially able to spend such money. But homecoming is such a great activity, and we would like everyone to be involved. So just kind of a breakdown on what some of the correspondences that we've had with the city. With those 53 street poles, it is a $100 rental fee per pole, and that allows for a 30-day rental, which gives you $5,300. That $5,300 adding $1,060, which is $20 per banner that we would like to display on the street poles, gives us a grand total of $6,360. Today, we would like to request $1,000 towards this initiative on the behalf of this board that will assist us in our marketing initiative for our homecoming, and we would like to definitely partner with the city in this initiative.
Well, thank you for coming to our meeting today and being part of it. This board doesn't have any money. We have no, we don't have any funds to give.
Okay.
You probably heard some of our problems we have, but there are other areas in this. I don't know what direction you've been given up to now. You make a very compelling case. It's not that much money.
Right.
I would think that
Well,
different pots of money within the city you might look at.
What would be the direction to go through?
If I could, please, Mr. Chair, if you would just give me a call afterwards.
Okay.
Or if you're here at the end of the meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll try to help you with
Absolutely.
that. I'm not taking out my wallet because I have money in here. But I want to give you my card. We all know Reed too well.
Just pass your wallet around and we'll
Excellent.
Thank you, and we love having the Cookman here. And I'm
Excellent.
sure you can find the money. It beats trees.
Excellent.
Here, you'll find some.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good presentation.
John Nicholson, 413 North Granbury Avenue. I wanted to talk when you were having your discussion on the new restaurant, but apparently it wasn't open to public discussion. We were having a problem on the beach side. We have now 6 restaurants that do not serve food. 3 of them don't even have kitchens. Before you altered your restaurants, we had altered ours to allow that we would say if you have $10,000 worth of equipment, we would then assume that you are a restaurant and we wouldn't check you for 51% food. Well, they went in with kitchens and then took them out. At least 3 of them did. One of them on Seabreeze went in without a kitchen and is a restaurant. It's a trend that's happening in our city, and staff is not looking into this, all right? So you went through this with a place on Magnolia and Beach Street. It caused a lot of problems for the people that are around it. Now you've done a second one that will probably turn out to be the exact same thing. When new things open up on the beach side, I'm very cognizant. One was Rossellini's, which is an Italian restaurant, which is a restaurant. They actually serve food, actually probably more than 50% food. They opened up a Pub and Grub on Main Street, and I go in regularly to check to see if they have food, and they do. But we're now coming down with another restaurant coming in who will probably not serve food either. The idea that I checked with House Board, and tourists come in, and we are a tourist town, and I know people say that there are no longer tourists in Daytona Beach, but we do get a lot of them on beachside. And number 1 is the beach, number 2 is restaurant, number 3 is shopping. We have over 200 places to eat, drink, and entertain on the beach side in and around the CRA area. Our core area, which we are pushing, sort of, I think we are, but the city is not. We haven't had a project manager in 5 years. And we are charged double for use of staff at the city. Our lawyer that comes to our meeting is twice as expensive as yours. And we pay your staff for downtown a third of their salary or more. So I just want to let you know that this is a trend. So when things happen on your side, there's an old phrase called CYA, cover your butt, to make sure that they are restaurants. You saw what happened to the one on Magnolia and Beach. It really, really was not a restaurant. It was a nightclub. You don't want that to propagate. So if there's some way you can hook them in, if they don't serve food, or if they don't, if they change to what you don't want them, there is a way of getting them out. Thank you.
Big John, 120 State Avenue, The Hill. I feel especially sorry for this new guy, Zappi. I think it's unconscionable that you guys ask questions and you get an email back when you meet as a board once a month. It would seem to me somebody could come out of the higher palace and discuss it with you face to face. That's what I would think. Changing the speed limit does not cost a couple dimes, but not very much money. So the city can't say it doesn't afford it. The best thing that, and by the way, poor Hamburger, who you all know I'm especially fond of, He has the job of coming here and telling you what he's told to tell you. I think many times he has to tell you things that he doesn't want to tell you, but that's his job. He gets paid for that. So I was happy to see the amount of discontent today. I see you even appear to be slightly discontent. That's a wonderful thing. The lawyer, slightly discontent. Zappy, a little extra discontent. Danny, normally discontent. But that's good because Danny, as I call him on the radio, the junk man, and he's got it on the head. I mean, where do they come? ISB. My God, you aren't even the worst place on ISB, and luckily the college has been wonderful east of Nova Road, but once you get past there, you're dead. I mean, west of Nova Road is the hottest spot in the county. Better than Ormond, better than Port Orange. But east of ISB, and don't dare go east of the bridge, 2 News Journal reporters, even Rice has been here 3 years, and he finally noticed it. That it stinks. It's rotten. How dare we send all of our customers past there, most all of our customers. So I believe you guys should get even more discontent and demand to know why you can't get the dad-dreaded speed limit changed. Maybe you can't buy an $800,000 building, but certainly changing the speed limit would be a minimal request. And I do think someday you should go to 1 lane each way. I think that, and who cares if somebody gets mad? It's time to do it. And I believe that, Al, this time you were right, because Daytona, whatever it is going to suck everything out of not only here, but the beachside.
That's right.
That's where they're going to be. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Is anyone else? Any further board comments? Anyone? If not, meeting adjourned.